Hello everyone, and welcome to my General Hospital official channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. General Hospital spoilers for Monday, July 7th, state that Rocco Falconeri will lose it with Lulu Spencer about the Brit Westbourne surrogacy she concealed from him. Carly Spencer will also give Giovanni Gio Palmieri the hard truth, so let's talk about it. GH will air a replay on Friday, July 4th, but viewers won't have to wait long for the action to resume in Port Charles. The program will return with an all-new episode on Monday, July 7th, beginning with Rocco's released rage. At home, Rocco simply approached Lulu and pressed her to tell him about Brit. Now that Rocco has seen Brooklyn Quartermain's research, he expects Lulu to provide solutions. "You did not give birth to me." "She did." Rocco asks Lulu angrily in Monday's GH teaser video. Lulu will reveal the intricate narrative of the stolen embryo, and how she did not realize Ben Westbourne was her son until later. Although Lulu will not think this changes anything, Rocco will be furious at being kept in the dark about all the Brit news. Brooklyn will talk to Cody Bell about ending her quarrel with Lulu. Brooklyn will say that one of them had to be the larger person, and she may explain that she simply wants to move on. Of course, Brooklyn will be unaware that Rocco has already ripped into Lulu after discovering the file she had on him. Lulu will undoubtedly be furious when she learns that Brooklyn is the reason Rocco discovered the truth about Brit. Next, Jocelyn Jax will inform Vaughn that this isn't working, and declare that they are finished. Jocelyn appears to be planning a public breakup, but she may get closer to Vaughn behind closed doors. Carly might see Jocelyn's declaration and question her daughter about it later on. Monday's episode will also see Carly's talk with Gio, and her admission about the complexities of having Sonny in her life. Carly will admit that she would be lying if she stated there was no other side, presumably to Sonny. Although Sonny is kind and fiercely protective of his family, Carly may recognize that there are certain harsh realities that come with being a mob boss. Sonny's loved ones can occasionally be damaged as a result of their connection to him. Thus Carly may agree Tracy Quartermain's concerns are not unfounded. Anna Devane plans to question Jen Sidwell. Sidwell, on the other hand, will stonewall Anna, arguing that if she wants answers, she should turn to Sonny. Finally, Sonny will inform Laura Collins that there may be a way to limit the damage caused by the escalating mob feud, but she may have reservations about his method. According to General Hospital spoilers, Sonny and Sidwell's feud is far from done, so stay tuned for more twists and turns. The General Hospital recap for Thursday, July shows that Wiley Corinthos raced to Willow Tate, Emma Scorpio Drake slammed, the Britch aka Brit Westbourne, and Jason Morgan smelled a setup. Emma came to the cafe to see Rocco Falconeri and Danny Morgan. Rocco asked Brit questions after seeing the file Brooklyn Quartermain had. Emma went into a rage about the Britch, and discussed Brit becoming pregnant. Emma realized that Rocco was the infant involved, therefore she eventually pushed him to acquire more information from his parents. Maxie Jones met with Brooklyn at the Quartermain home to get an update on Sonny Corinthos' unintentionally dirty investment. Maxie also learned of Natalia Ramirez's tragic demise, and debated with Brooklyn about how to handle the Sonny problem. Maxie picked up a neighboring file, which turned out to contain Brooklyn's Brit research. Brooklyn admitted that she was planning revenge on Lulu Spencer, but she couldn't go through with it because she didn't want to upset Rocco. Willow briefly chatted with Giovanni Gio Palmieri at the Metro Court pool before focusing on Kai Taylor and Trina Robinson. Willow praised Kai for coming to Drew Kane's rescue with a phony phone call during that disastrous press appearance. Once Trina was alone with Kai, she expressed her concerns about Drew and suggested that Kai avoid all of the Quartermains since they were nuts. Tracy Quartermain approached Gio, who responded coldly. Nonetheless, Tracy mentioned the fire in which Christina Corinthos Davis had minor injuries and cautioned Gio that he, too, may be in risk. Emma ultimately joined the conversation, as Gio was going to fill her on later anyhow. Tracy urged Gio to return to the Quartermain property, but he refused, believing that this was an attempt to convert him against Sonny. When Michael Corinthos brought Wiley to his swimming lesson, he caught a glimpse of Willow and privately asked her to leave. Willow lingered, so Wiley noticed her and ran up to embrace his mother. After Willow blamed the judge for their time apart, Michael informed Wiley that they needed to go immediately. Wiley was angry at being separated from his mother, and complained about the judge to Michael, who hugged him. In the PCPD interrogation room, ADA. Justine Turner advised Sonny Corinthos to discuss what truly happened because nothing would be acceptable without his lawyer present. When ADA Turner discussed the agreement she tried to make with Natalia, Sonny implied that she must be feeling bad about Natalia's unfortunate end. Turner indicated that they both contributed to Natalia's death, while Sonny countered that Natalia was responsible for how she coped with her troubles. At Lulu Spencer's house, she spoke with Laura Collins about the mob turmoil and encouraged her to speak out against Sonny. Laura didn't think it would accomplish much more than driving the family apart. Lulu was worried about Laura going behind in the polls. Since they couldn't let Ezra Boyle win control of the mayor's office, Lulu believed Laura needed to be strategic about what happened next. On Thursday's GH episode after Laura left, Rocco returned home and stunned Lulu by demanding answers about Britt. Dante Falconeri spotted Jason at Sonny's apartment and claimed that the arson had been traced back to Selena Wu's associates. So he asked Jason whether they had already been buried in the woods. However, Jason didn't believe Selena would firebomb Charlie's pub and endanger Christina, so he thought it was Jen Sidwell's setup. When he was alone, Jason accepted a phone call and instructed someone to make a move when told. Back with Laura, she arrived at the police station to question Sonny about Sidwell as mob drama escalated. According to General Hospital spoilers, Sonny may use some bold tactics soon, so stay tuned. Emma Scorpio Drake taught Britt Westbourne about history on Thursday, July 3rd, according to General Hospital recaps. Tracy Quartermain also embarked on a rescue mission, while Dante Falconeri served as a detective. Emma's history lesson. At the coffee shop, Rocco Falconeri and Danny Morgan talk about Britt. Danny says they should move on, but Rocco can't stop thinking about the lady who could be his mother. Emma comes and they ask about Britt. Her father was the only person who could tolerate her, and she eventually became pregnant as a result of his acceptance. Emma experiences an epiphany, and the boys presume it is with Rocco. Emma proposes that Rocco talk to his parents about it and then leaves, reassuring Rocco that there is more to the tale than she is aware of. Tracy and Maxie discuss Deception Cosmetics finances. Maxie arrives. Tracy and Brooklyn Quartermain chases at the Quartermains, waiting for Maxie Jones to explain how to save Deception. Tracy mentions that they can handle it while she handles Gio. Brooklyn is terrified that pushing Gio away from Sonny will simply drive him away from her. They fight about the potential threat Sonny poses to Gio, and Tracy reminds her that mobsters frequently target each other's families during disagreements. Maxie arrives and Michael Corinthos welcomes her inside, thanks her for planning the christening, which has given him hope for his family's future. He informs her that Christina Corinthos Davis and the children are doing well, and he is confident about reaching stability. Maxie finds the file on Maxie encounters Brooklyn, who informs her that Sonny's investment money was contaminated and Natalia Ramirez is deceased. Maxie believes they should report it to the authorities and submit all of their documents. She is devoted to doing all possible to protect the company. They stroll around talking about how Tracy would never forget this, and as Maxie picks up the wrong file, she discovers Brooklyn's documents on Britt. Brooklyn admits that this was part of her vendetta against Lulu. She clarifies that she wanted to know whether Rocco was Britt's child. Maxie inquires whether she showed Rocco the file. Brooklyn declines since she did not want to hurt him. Willow shows up in the Metro court pool and talks to Gio, Kai, and Trina. Willow Tate runs into Gio in the pool and expresses her sympathy for what happened to him. She knows how it feels to be betrayed. Meanwhile, Kai Taylor and Trina Robinson are flirting in the pool. Willow interrupts their conversation about where to see the fireworks. She explains that Drew Kane is in D.C. and tells Kai how much Drew admires his work and values his additional effort. Kai downplays it, claiming he simply performed his job. Trina warns Kai about the Quartermains. After Willow leaves, Trina encourages Kai to stay away from the Quartermains, believing they will drive him insane. He claims his attention is exclusively on politics. She warns him against being caught in the crossfire. Then she turns her attention to her parents, questioning why she feels this way given that they were not together when she was a child. He feels that everyone wants to believe in commitments, and she discusses how tough it is to trust. He says that she is worth taking the risk. She never expected to feel this way again, but he is worth it. Michael's disturbed, seeing Willow watching Wiley. Willow sits at the pool, watching as Michael brings wily Corinthos in for his swimming lesson. After spending time in the water with his kid, Michael helps him out of the pool. Willow remains in her location, and as soon as Wiley notices her, he runs over. Michael rapidly attempts to direct his kid away, while Willow tells her son how much she misses him and hopes the court would reconsider her decision soon. As Michael leads Wiley away, the young boy protests, claiming he does not want to wait for the dumb judge and wants to see his mother right away. Tracy's rescue mission. Tracy arrives to meet Gio and promptly informs him that she fears his life is in danger. He listens as she briefs him on Christina's near-death experience due to Sonny. She is determined not to lose him, but he argues that she does not own him and never will. Emma enters and encourages them to settle down, as Tracy urges Gio to return to the house for his own safety, claiming that he is safe living at Anna Devane's. Tracy brings up Sonny and the PCPD's history of violence. Gio recognizes that this is all about him rejecting his grandfather and refuses to do so. Tracy will not compel him, but she suggests he stop by what remains of Charlie's and then visit Morgan Corinthos Cemetery when he finishes working. Laura and Lulu discuss what is happening in Port Charles. Laura Collins pays a visit to Lulu's house, and they talk about the developing mob dispute. Lulu expresses her anxiety, saying it appears dire, and she advises her mother to distance herself from Sonny. Laura fears that would further fracture the family, while Lulu recommends that her mother simply lie about it. However, her mother reminds her that Ezra Boyle is watching her and may divulge the truth. What effect would this have on Rocco? Furthermore, Laura suspects there is more to the situation. Lulu is concerned that she is trailing Boyle in the polls. To defend Port Charles, she must stay in the mayor's office. Lulu and Laura continue to discuss the situation. Rocco arrives after his grandmother leaves. Lulu asks her mother, "How far are you willing to go to achieve this?" Laura reveals that Sonny warned her about Jen Sidwell bringing violence to the city. She is unconcerned by intimidation techniques. Lulu believes that if she loses her job, she would only empower Boyle. Laura warns that she must be exceedingly strategic about her next option, or the situation will worsen. Once the mayor has left, Rocco enters and wants answers from his mother regarding Britt. Sonny is not answering questions. At the PCPD, Sonny warns ADA Justine Turner that he would not testify without his attorney present. Turner claims this is the purpose for her presence. She adds that everything he says in the absence of Diane Miller will be ruled inadmissible. This is his best opportunity to explain what happened. She elaborates on the plan she formed with Natalia to betray him, but Sonny claims that the incident had nothing to do with him. He indicates that she may be feeling guilty for having slain Natalia. They have a heated debate over this, with her insisting that she made Natalia an excellent offer. The ADA is sure that Natalia committed herself or that Sonny planned her murder, and he says Turner played a role in her death. Turner ends her interrogation, and Laura shows up. Sonny responds to Turner by stating that one can never truly understand what motivates an individual. Natalia was solely responsible for how she coped with her challenges. Turner senses a shift and admits that there are no further inquiries before leaving. Laura arrives after Turner has left and asks him what he knows about Sidwell's intentions. Meanwhile at Sonny's, Jason Morgan is on the phone with Diane, who informs him that the cops are keeping her from visiting Sonny. Dante's detective duty. Dante arrives and informs Jason that the police believe Selena Wu is responsible for the fire. She has fled the country, and her associates are on the run. The cop asks if he should look for them, or if they are already buried in the woods. Jason doubts Selena was involved in this incident, and they both assume Sidwell set her up. They talk about Natalia's death, and Dante is certain that Sonny has nothing to do with it. Jason thinks on how much has changed between him and Dante. After the police has left, Jason receives a call and tells the caller that he will let them know when to continue as the calendar turns to Monday, July 7th. General Hospital promises to kick off the week with emotional confrontations, unsettling discoveries, and high-stakes tension. Fans will see Rocco Falconeri finally confront Lulu Spencer about a secret she's hidden for years, a truth that could shake his sense of self to the core. Meanwhile, Carly Spencer will offer Giovanni Gio Palmieri a reality check he may not be prepared to hear. Before this fresh drama erupts, the show will re-air a previous episode on Friday, July 4th to mark the holiday. But viewers won't have to wait long. Monday's installment, will deliver brand new scenes that propel Port Charles deeper into chaos and conflict. When the episode begins, the spotlight will fall on Rocco and his simmering resentment. After sifting through Brooklyn Quartermain's files, Rocco has pieced together a story that no one ever intended him to find. He will face Lulu directly, demanding the truth about Britt Westbourne. "You didn't give birth to me." "She did," he challenges Lulu, his voice quivering with betrayal. Lulu is forced to share the entire tangled history. She will recount how her embryo was stolen and implanted in Britt without her knowledge. For a time, she didn't even realize that the baby named Ben Westbourne was actually her own son. Even as Lulu insists that none of this changes how much she loves Rocco, her words won't soothe the ache he feels. Rocco will lash out, furious that she kept this from him for so long. Elsewhere, Brooklyn will pull Cody Bell aside to talk about her long-running animosity toward Lulu. Brooklyn will confess she's tired of carrying grudges. She may tell Cody that one of them had to rise above the pettiness and simply move on. But as she muses about letting bygones be bygones, Brooklyn won't realize the damage has already been done. Thanks to her own file, Rocco is now confronting Lulu. And Lulu is bound to be furious once she discovers Brooklyn's role in his meltdown. While that family crisis escalates, another relationship unravels in a more public way. Jocelyn Jacks will decide it's time to end things with Vaughn. She'll declare, "This isn't working," staging a breakup in front of others. Yet behind closed doors, she may find herself clinging to Vaughn more than ever, using the public split as a smokescreen to conceal her true feelings. Carly Spencer might happen to see Jocelyn's performance and could press her daughter for answers later. Monday's episode will also bring a moment of unfiltered honesty between Carly and Gio. She'll sit him down and talk about what it really means to be connected to Sonny Corinthos. Carly will admit she can't pretend there isn't a darker side to Sonny, a side she herself has struggled to reconcile over the years. Although Sonny is protective and devoted to his family, Carly knows that being loved by a mob boss is never without risk. Innocent people get pulled into dangerous situations just by association. She may even acknowledge that Tracy Quartermain's warnings about Joe's safety are not without merit. Meanwhile, Anna Devane will turn her attention to Jen Sidwell, determined to pry the truth from him about the escalating violence. But Sidwell won't make it easy. He will stonewall her, refusing to provide any useful information. Instead, he'll deflect, suggesting that if Anna truly wants answers, she should focus her investigation on Sonny. Elsewhere, Sonny himself will sit down with Laura Collins. He'll tell her he thinks there's still a chance to prevent the brewing mob war from engulfing the town completely. Laura, however, may be skeptical that any of Sonny's strategies can really contain the destruction already in motion. And viewers can rest assured, whatever Sonny and Sidwell have set in motion is nowhere near over. In the previous episode, Port Charles residents were already grappling with shock and grief. Wiley Corinthos had been overwhelmed with emotion when he spotted Willow Tate. Emma Scorpio Drake had shared her blunt opinion of Britt, and Jason Morgan suspected that someone was deliberately framing Sonny. It all started at the cafe, where Emma arrived to meet Rocco and Danny Morgan. Rocco was desperate for insight after stumbling across the documents Brooklyn had compiled. Emma didn't mince words when she described Britt, nicknaming her the Britch. She explained how Britt had once tried to secure a relationship by getting herself pregnant, adding that her father eventually accepted Britt's choices, if only grudgingly. As Emma recounted these memories, she realized Rocco might be the baby Britt carried. She urged him to get the rest of the truth directly from his parents rather than piecing it together secondhand. Over at the Quartermain mansion, Maxie Jones was receiving unsettling updates of her own. Brooklyn explained that Sonny's investment had been tainted, money he'd unknowingly funneled into criminal enterprises. Worse yet, Natalia Ramirez was now dead, a grim twist Maxie struggled to process. The women debated their options. Should they report everything to the police and risk Sonny's wrath? Maxie insisted they had to protect Deception Cosmetics, no matter the fallout. As they walked through the mansion talking, Maxie picked up a file without realizing it was the one Brooklyn had been using to research Britt. Caught off guard, Brooklyn admitted the file had been intended as part of her revenge plan against Lulu. She'd thought she might expose Rocco's biological origins. But in the end, she couldn't bring herself to hurt him, so she decided to shelve the scheme. Meanwhile, at the Metro Court pool, Willow ran into Gio. She expressed her sorrow for what he'd endured recently. She understood all too well the pain of betrayal. A few steps away, Kai Taylor and Trina Robinson were chatting, flirting as they planned where to watch the fireworks later that evening. Willow interrupted their banter to sing Kai's praises. She told them how much Drew Kane respected Kai's quick thinking at a recent press conference, when he'd staged a fake phone call to defuse tension. Kai tried to brush it off modestly, but Willow insisted that Drew believed Kai had serious potential in the world of politics. Once Willow walked away, Trina turned serious. She warned Kai to steer clear of the Quartermaines entirely, describing them as a vortex of chaos. Kai countered that he wasn't interested in the family's personal squabbles. His only goal was to focus on his own ambitions. Even so, Trina cautioned him that anyone who got close to Drew inevitably ended up sucked into Quartermaine problems. Shifting gears, Trina confided her own confusion about her parents. Though they hadn't been together when she was growing up, she still found herself longing for them to reconcile. Kai understood, telling her everyone wants to believe in lasting commitments, even when it's hard to trust. He reassured her that she was worth taking the risk. Trina admitted she never thought she'd open her heart again, but Kai was proving to be someone she could believe in. Elsewhere by the pool, Michael Corinthos arrived with Wiley for a swimming lesson. As Wiley played in the water, Michael noticed Willow sitting quietly nearby. He asked her to leave before Wiley spotted her, hoping to avoid another painful scene. But Willow stayed where she was, unable to tear herself away. Inevitably, Wiley caught sight of his mother and ran to her with outstretched arms. Willow hugged him, whispering how much she missed him and promising the judge's decision wouldn't keep them apart forever. Michael had no choice but to lead Wiley away as the boy protested, insisting he didn't want to wait anymore. He wanted his mom right now. Back in town, Tracy Quartermaine launched what she considered a rescue mission. She met Gio and warned him bluntly. He was living in danger because of Sonny's criminal ties. She recounted how Christina had nearly died in a fire, and argued that Gio could be targeted next. Gio bristled at her tone, reminding her she didn't own him. Emma arrived in time to intervene, suggesting they all calm down before the argument escalated. Tracy tried to persuade Gio to move back onto the Quartermaine estate, but he refused. He insisted this was less about concern and more about Tracy trying to sever his connection to Sonny. Though Tracy didn't deny she wanted Gio away from Sonny's influence, she softened her tone. She told Gio he should at least visit Charlie's pub to see the damage for himself, and consider stopping by Morgan Corinthos' grave, a grim reminder of how quickly life could end. At Lulu's house, Laura Collins stopped by to discuss the mob violence sweeping through Port Charles. Lulu was adamant that Laura needed to publicly distance herself from Sonny. Laura countered that doing so would fracture their family beyond repair, and she couldn't bear to see Rocco caught in the middle. Lulu argued that the political stakes were too high. Ezra Boyle was gaining ground in the polls, and if Laura didn't act decisively, they'd be handing Port Charles over to someone corrupt. But Laura felt torn. She acknowledged that Sonny had warned her about Sidwell's plans for violence, and she wasn't willing to cave to intimidation tactics. Lulu pressed her mother to consider how far she'd go to win the election. Laura insisted she needed to be strategic and avoid hasty decisions that could backfire. After Laura departed, Rocco came home, his face drawn with conflict. He wasted no time confronting Lulu, demanding the truth about Britt Westbourne once and for all. Over at the PCPD, Sonny sat stone-faced in the interrogation room while Adia Justine Turner tried to coax a confession out of him. She reminded him that without his lawyer present, nothing he said could be used against him. This was his opportunity to tell his side of the story. She brought up the deal she'd offered Natalia to flip on him. Sonny coolly implied she must be feeling guilty for Natalia's death. Turner insisted she'd given Natalia an incredible chance to rebuild her life, but Sonny said that how Natalia handled her choices was her own burden to bear. Turner grew visibly rattled. Finally, she conceded there were no further questions and walked out, leaving Sonny alone with his thoughts. Moments later, Laura arrived at the station to question Sonny herself, wanting to know exactly what Sidwell was planning. At Sonny's home, Jason Morgan was on the phone with Diane, frustrated that the police were preventing her from visiting Sonny. Dante soon showed up to share that Selena Wu had fled the country, and her associates were prime suspects in the arson. Dante speculated the arsonist might already be dead, but Jason didn't buy it. He believed Sidwell had orchestrated the frame-up to make Selena look guilty. After Dante left, Jason got a call and assured the person on the other end that he'd notify them when Sonny was ready to retaliate. Rocco's fury, unleashed over Britt's secret. The episode kicks off with Rocco Falconeri confronting Lulu Spencer about the shocking truth surrounding his birth. After discovering Brooklyn Quartermain's research, Rocco demands answers from his mother, furious over being kept in the dark. "You didn't give birth to me, she did?" Rocco angrily questions in the preview clip. Lulu attempts to explain the complicated circumstances, how her stolen embryo was used by Britt Westbourne without her knowledge and how she only learned the truth later. While Lulu insists this changes nothing between them, Rocco feels betrayed by the secrecy. Meanwhile, Brooklyn tells Cody Bell she's done feuding with Lulu, unaware that her investigation has already ignited a firestorm. When Lulu realizes Brooklyn's role in Rocco's discovery, she'll be livid. Jocelyn's fake breakup and Carly's harsh truths. Jocelyn Jack stages a public breakup with Vaughn, declaring, "This isn't working, we're done." However, this may be a ruse to throw off suspicion as their relationship deepens in private. Carly Spencer witnesses the scene and later questions her daughter about the sudden split. Carly also has a candid conversation with Gio Palmieri, admitting the complexities of loving Sonny Corinthos. She acknowledges that while Sonny is fiercely protective, his mob ties come with dangerous consequences, something Tracy Quartermain has warned Gio about. Carly's honesty may further fuel Joe's internal conflict about his connection to Sonny. Anna's interrogation and Sonny's damage control. Anna Devane grills Jen Sidwell, but he refuses to cooperate, redirecting blame toward Sonny. Meanwhile, Sonny tells Laura Collins he has a plan to contain the escalating mob war, though Laura remains skeptical. With Natalia Ramirez's death still looming, ADA Justine Turner pressures Sonny at the PCPD, insinuating he had a hand in her demise. Sonny fires back, suggesting Turner's own actions contributed to Natalia's fate. Thursday, July 3rd recap. Explosive revelations and tense encounters. Emma Scorpio Drake inadvertently reveals Britt's history to Rocco, leading him to confront Lulu. Maxie Jones discovers Brooklyn's secret file on Britt, calling out her revenge plot against Lulu. Willow Tate shares a heartbreaking moment with Wiley, who begs to stay with her despite Michael Corinthos' objections. Tracy warns Gio about Sonny's dangerous world, but he refuses to abandon his grandfather. Dante Falconeri and Jason Morgan suspect Selena Wu is being framed for the arson at Charlie's pub. What's next?